My name is Till Eberle. I'm 41 years old. I'm the general manager of Boards&More. Boards&More is an operation. We have 4 brands: Fanatic, North Sales, Iron and North Kiteboarding. And operational, I work a lot with North Kiteboarding because that's the brand which I started with. When I started, I was a product manager and worked together with Ken Winner. He's a kite designer, and at this time with Jaime Reyes as a tester. And over the time, I developed from product manager to sales line manager, and ended up as a general manager for the total group. Started 2001, not at the really beginning, because it was started in USA from David Johnson and Ken Winner, I think in the early February 2001, and I then joined the team in September 2001. At the beginning it was kind of a race of innovation. So you really tried to develop something new, because the most innovative brand with the latest product was selling the best. And then to be honest, in 2006, 2007 we had some quality issues, because we were trying to be so innovative that we didn't have a proper enough testing, or let's say just there was so much moving in the R&D that simply we couldn't make sure that it is well good enough. And then 2008 actually we decided, okay, we have to change the process, how to develop gear and how to implement it with the production. So we moved our productions from China to Sri Lanka, and started as well to standardize certain solutions on the kites in order to get a better quality, because it's more like standardization you have. It's easier for the people to always do the same. You can invest in molds, you can automations of sewing, automatically sewing machines, computer stitching and stuff like that, and this really helped us to improve the quality. For example, if you look to all North kites, the connection between the rib and the leading edge is now all kites have the same construction. And in the early days, you just were going with the flow and make this construction here and the other constructions there. Maybe even nicer example is if you look to the pigtails of the kites, this is all computer stitched now, which improves the quality and makes it more durable. I think really the Rhino 1, the first kite which came to the market, was an outstanding kite, because it was the first kite where the Dacron leading edge was, let's say, introduced. Since the second one, I think, which was very interesting, when the total industry was going to the bow kites, we had this first Vegas, which I would call a hybrid or a high D-power sea kite, which is still the base till nowadays, I would say, for sea kites. And I would say the last one which was outstanding was, and if you're talking kites, was the Rebel, which was in the first kind of hybrid design, which was kind of a flatter supported kite but without bridles, which also I think is more like the kites what we have nowadays, and not the classic boat type of kites. And board wise, we have been the first company introducing twin tips, which had been in this kind of snowboard construction. I think at this time, the first time board in snowboard construction, I think was also outstanding. When the bow kite came in 2006, 2007, when we had our share with the Vegas, but for sure when we would have had a bow kite, we would have sold much more. This for sure. Looking backward, I think on one side it was a management mistake not to do it, just commercially wise. On the other hand, the good is dealing so hard to avoid bridles. We learned a lot about kite design, which I think still is one of our assets which we have nowadays. So that we know how to build kites without bridles, with a lot of D-power, which work quite well. And I think there's not much companies which exactly have this know-how right now. Just looking to, let's say, the feedback and the success what they're having right now, maybe we have been on the right path, but it was maybe the harder way. Kite, which has the biggest change, is definitely the Vegas, because it's a complete new design. The Vegas is more compact, has low aspect ratio in comparison to the old one. It's just in more really state of really one of the last generations of high performance sea kites, which are used in the wake style or in the freestyle competitions. The main thing is that we chopped off a little bit the tips, brought all the water strut more to the outside of the kite, which created a bigger surface in the center to create power. But on the other hand, we created this a stiffer tip structure, which makes the kite more precise, and as well which allows you to generate more pop for going wake styling. Personally, I'm going from kite to kite where I go. Like if I would have to pick one kite for myself, I would go for Evo, because it's the most polyvalent kite of the North range. And you know, like when it's flat water, I try to do some wake style. Don't want to say that I'm good in this one, but just like, you know, with the Evo you can do wake style, and it's working quite well in the waves, and it's a powerful kite. And since I'm a heavy guy with 95 kilograms, I just want to have a little bit grunt to get going. On the twin temps, I really like the Team Series, and for the surfboards, to be honest, I don't have my choice. So like for going strapless and medium surf, I would say the Pro Series, the new one, I really like it. Or actually the Whip. When it's going big, I prefer the WAM. I think one thing which maybe especially for the US market is quite interesting, so since last year we positioned the Neo really into the surf direction, and Ayrton, which is our, let's say, best wave rider and the last year's world champion, is using it, and I think it's definitely a kite which makes sense to look at it if you're really into surfing with kind of a smoother feeling of the kite.